This is Hearthstone.fi Monday Night Community Tournament number 20, semifinal number 1. Adrid versus D3monSlayer. My name is Markus, Olodyn, Koskivirta, and you are most welcome to the stream. I'm just gonna go ahead and give the players the get-go to start playing. And you will get to see it for yourself as well. This is either Hunter Mage Druid from Adrid, or Druid Paladin or Rogue from D3monSlayer. So both players have a set amount of classes to be used. This is a best of 5, unlike the previous matches, which have been a best of 3, using the Conquest format of the new BlizzCon. Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft rules. If you haven't been following us previously, the winner gets 50 euros from the tournament this week, and starting next week we are officially granted World Championship status, so the winner will go home with 10 World Championship points, the second place finisher with 5, the third and fourth with 1 point each. So that's something to keep in mind when playing in our weekly tournaments. The Finnish Hearthstone community is really delighted to be granted this status and is looking forward to working along with Blizzard in the future as well. Both players still preparing, thinking about which decks to pick. This semi-final itself is France versus France. Both players are French. We will be waiting in anticipation for the semi-final number 2 as well, which will be Greece versus Russia. So a pretty nice lineup of nations this week. Unfortunately, no Finnish players, but sometimes that happens. Let's check on the players, whether they're ready to go. A slight delay, it would seem. I will just make sure there's nothing weird going on by popping over to Irk, which will mean that you guys will get to see my Be Right Back screen for just a short while. Don't worry about that, we will get going once the players are ready. And there was nothing weird going on over on our official chat channel, which is Hearthstone.fi.tms over on QuakeNet. If you're interested in joining our tournament plays or following what's happening, go ahead and join that channel. You can also join that channel from our official tournament site, which is tms.hearthstone.fi. All of our current, ongoing, and previous tournaments are listed there, so you are more than welcome to go check that out. Also want to give a small shout out to our sponsors Fractia over at fractia.fi for enabling us to do this grand job of Hearthstone tournaments. And there we go, that's the reason. Somebody's trying to mind games others. Of course, you are not required to give what version of your decks you're running as information to your opponent. Considering that Demon is running Druid, Paladin, Rogue, and Adrid is running Hunter, Mage, and Druid, we might actually be faced in a situation where both players have a fairly solid lineup against each other. The Hunter and the Mage from Adrid should probably be more rushy. Face Hunters, Mech Mages. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and check what the commotion is about. Let me just go ahead, sort it out. And there we go. We'll get the match going in the form of Branzi Bass's side of the match. Branzi is indeed Adrid on the side. And these things sort of happen in meantime. This is a Druid versus Druid mirror matchup. It's actually a pretty good, solid choice for both players, seeing as Demon probably realizes that Adrid is playing more aggressive decks. And on the other hand, Adrid realizes that Demon has some fairly control-y decks in his arsenal, so the Druid might be a good midway option to go with to begin with. You want to get the Druid win out of the way in as fast a fashion as possible. Now the starting hands for each players are not that spectacular. Of course, D3monSlayer in a better position with that Innervate enabling the 4-drop Shredder onto the board, which is the better choice out of the Keeper of the Sungeon due to its stickiness on the board over everything else. Branzi Bass basically forced to play Coin Shade of Noxramas, which means that he has no plays on turn 3 unless he top decks into another Shade. This should give D3monSlayer a really good edge to begin the match with. Considering that he only drew into a big game hunter right now, he has the answer for the Dr. Boom, but of course you don't want to be playing it on turn 3 as a vanilla 4-2, especially given that you pretty much know that every deck runs some sort of version, either of Dr. Boom or some other big drop that you can utilize the BGH on. It's a bit unfortunate that you can pretty much rely on all the big game hunters being at least one copy of it being played in almost every single deck except for Face Hunter, due to the abundance of Dr. Boom in the current meta. Now Branzi is in a position where he's actually forced to think about playing the BGH out early, but decides to go for the hero power instead. To totally understand this decision, since he's running these shades, I'm fairly certain that he's running a combo oriented Druid over the D3monSlayer is more stable, traditional taunt heavy Druid. He might not even run a single combo in there, you never know. He does get the top deck, Shade of Noxramas, just one turn too late, and his hand is absolutely top heavy right now with 5 drops, 6 drops, and a 7 drop. A couple of 7 drops as well. If he's able to survive this onslaught of early game damage, then he might be able to turn it around, but it's not looking good currently for Branzi Bass. He has the option of using the Shade as removal and then maybe utilizing the Swipe or even going for the Druid of the Claw charge. I think the charging Druid of the Claw would be the more aggressive choice. In this way, when you go for the taunted Druid of the Claw, you can safely use both of your Shades to clear out the board, but of course this puts you at small vulnerability for a Swipe or even a Keeper of the Grove hero ability combo. On the other hand, if you go for the Keeper of the Grove, then you cannot go through to the 3-1 with the hero ability due to the taunt on the Druid of the Claw. unless you use the Keeper as a silence on the taunt, and use the 4-3 Polished Shredder to remove this 5-2 on the board. So he definitely should not be going for the attack on the Shredder to the Druid of the Claw, unless he plans to utilize Wrath plus Swipe as a combo. Maybe he just wants to see what he gets, and there we go! Polished Shredded gets upgraded to Millhouse, the best possible option you can get from there. There we go, Wrathing for 1 as a cycle into a Druid of the Claw swipe target, clearing the board completely using the 4-3 to see what pops out first. Pretty nice situation for him to be in, upgrading the 4-3 to a 4-4. On turn 6, playing the Sylvanas or the Azure-Drake. The Azure-Drake gets traded with the Millhouse immediately. The Sylvanas, on the other hand, might be forced into a position where you lose her mind control effect. But in this current situation, I think he should go for the bigger value of the Sylvanas, so the 4-4 isn't just left out in the open. On the other hand, I understand the swipe as well, because of the fact that if D3monSlayer were to have Innervate into combo, he would die next turn. 4-4 plus 14, 20 damage, and he was at 18, so that was the more conservative play. The only major downside I can see in that is the fact that now he's not really playing to win, he's just playing to survive over the other player, because of the fact that if he had gone for the minions on board option, then he would have probably had something to answer on the upcoming turns. On the other hand, yeah, you can just go ahead and drop Dr. Boom and not care that much. It will get dealt by with the Big Game Hunter though, and in combination with the Druid of the Claw as a 4-6 taunt, which will be able to really...
Where shall I strike?
Strike either as an aggressive 4-4 charge or soak up damage as the taunter from the Boombots. I understand why he decides to go for the charge option. He doesn't want the game to linger on for any longer than necessary, given that Branzi has got the card advantage right now into a fairly heavy way as well. The Boombot hitting the face, even for 3 damage is really unfortunate, because if it had gone for the Big Game Hunter, that would have been a big swing in favor of him. And if it gone for the 3 damage on the Sludge Belcher, then the hero ability would have been able to finish it off, or the Wrath with the 1 damage cycle as well. He's gonna try and roll again, and this time 2 damage into the Druid of the Claw. Not quite enough. You can still use the Wrath, but now you can't cycle it as efficiently. You might have to use a defensive force of nature. That's about to happen. We're gonna see a defensive force of nature with the 3 damage Wrath, clearing the whole board from the opposing side. Once again, being very aware of the fact that an opposing combo would mean the death of himself in the next turn. We, on the other hand, know that there is no combo. This Ancient of War probably going to get played down as a big taunt. It's unlikely there will be a Black Knight coming from the opposing player, since you didn't see the Black Knight go down onto the Sludge Belcher when he had the chance. It's fairly safe to just pop down the huge Ancient, see what happens. This zombie chow might even end up being negative, but on the other hand, if you're not going to play it right now, then you're not going to play it ever. So, here we go. Looking at the hand of Branzi Bass, it's not looking too great. You can use the Ancient Allure as a draw or as a heal. In this situation, you would probably want to go for the heal, but you would still be dead to many, many things in the Druid Arsenal. If you want to go for the more defensive play, then the Sludge Belcher is your only taunt option. But if you play the Sludge Belcher, then you're basically forced to not play anything else. The Sylvanas, in response to the Ancient of War, is the best option, in my opinion. You're taking a risk. You're taking a risk of the opposing player having the cards he needs to end the game. Even a single swipe is enough. But if you had not played the Sylvanas this turn, you would have pretty much been giving over everything to the opposing player as well, because of the Ancient Allure having the same stats, not having the desired effect. Maybe stayed alive for 1 more turn, but that's it. So, first match goes to D3monSlayer. It is 1-0. His Druid is now done. only the Paladin or the Rogue left. Seeing as the Paladin is probably going to be the mid-range Paladin we've become fairly used to seeing in these tournaments, and the Rogue is more than likely an oil Rogue. What would you pick in order to counter those? Face Hunter is fairly strong against Oil Rogue. Face Hunter isn't as great as against the Paladin, so you would not want to go for that toss-up. Mage probably, yeah, there we go. Mage probably gonna be the pick here, due to the fact that it's got the most consistency.
You asked for it.
And can be really fast to end the game. This starting hand though, you're gonna go ahead and toss away all of these cards, while the Rogue is gonna probably only toss away the Drake and the Blade Flurry. Keep this 2 mana legendary in his hand. Oh, deciding to keep the Blade Flurry as well for the early AoE potential. Actually, I kind of like that option as well, because of the fact that now, when you look at it, the Mech Mage, even if they have a very, very strong start, actually this might not be a full-on Mech Mage. It's got the Mad Scientist plus the Secrets combined with the Mystic in this current meta. It's probably actually a mage deck considered to try and counter a Mech Mage. So this matchup isn't that great anymore. The Oil Rogue should be able to overwhelm the board pretty easily. There we go, Thalnos just cycled out of his hand. Not a very big value card. Probably gonna just see the Mad Scientist pop down this turn. No reason to coin out anything else. Playing this Unstable Portal is a bit too greedy. Use the Mana Wisdom to clear out the Thalnos and drop the Mad Scientist this turn. Gives you perfect curve, and you're in a pretty good position to start gaining momentum. The Sap against this sort of opting to go for the Zombie Chow. Well, maybe then he will coin out the Mad Scientist as well. Yes, there we go. Just to play the Zombie Chow makes very little sense. The reason why I would have argued to keep the coin in his hand right now is the fact that he could have used it to boost out the Sludge Belcher or the Kazan Mystic earlier, but on the other hand you do have the Unstable Portal, which enables you to pretty much play any minion that has got 4 or less mana cost if you end up getting one of those guys. So you're relying on the portal or the luck of the draw for the next turn. Against an Oil Rogue as well, you're in a pretty set option. Rogues do have backstab, rogues do have a lot of AoE in the current meta, which should be able to clear this board. So let's see what he opts to go for. Just daggering up, nothing else. Unfortunately, with this kind of hand, you're forced to not do much, and if the mage is able to get the momentum going fast enough, there we go, there's the Argent Protector. You can actually play the Protector this turn. I would even consider playing it on the Wurm because of the fact that that is your highest hitting minion right now. It means that the Wurm is safe from any potential Fan of Knives combos with Blade Flurry or even just Poison Blade Flurry, which could be played next turn. Opts to not play the Protector. Well, if you put down the Protector, then yes, the Protector might dodge the AoE. It's an Oil Rogue, so it's more than likely not going to be playing MC tech, so I don't see what the reason for that is. But basically, if you were to have played this Argent Protector, you would have guaranteed a 3-2 with a Divine Shield, with a 2-2 on the board. And now, if the AoE does come down, the 3-2 gets destroyed instead of the 2-2. So there we go, there's the Oil option. But unfortunately, he's unable to use the Blade Flurry this turn yet, and drew into Sap. So this starting hand, double Sap and drew Sprint as well, double Blade Flurry. Seriously slow. They will be able to Blade Flurry next turn into a comboed SI7 agent. But that's pretty much it. And this turn, you will want to use the Protector on the 4-3 Kazan, more than likely. There we go. Because of the fact that the Kazan will be able to survive the AoE coming down, and even if there is some sort of combo damage dealer, it won't die to that straight away. But definitely, D3monSlayer forced into a position where he has to play down the Blade Flurry. Might even consider not playing the SI7 agent, instead going for the Elden Ring Farseer, because of the fact that the Farseer can trade with the Mystic, And the 2 damage from the SS7 agent is completely wasted right now. Yep, there we go. Farseer into Blade Flurry. And the middle option as well. Pretty good value. Destroying 4 minions, getting a 5 heal. And a mirror entity up. The reason why you would want to play it like this is simply because of the fact that you don't want the opposing player to get the mirror entity from the Earthen Ring Farseer first. The only secret that this kind of deck usually runs is the mirror entity, so. And Sap knows its place pretty well, especially given that on turn 6, the only play that the opposing mage has is the Sludge Belcher again. And this enables the 3-3 to trade up into the 4-3. Pretty good turn, effective-wise. This Ragnaros is going to be very, very difficult for the Olreg to handle. Since the game has been going on for as long as it has, and there have been no Violet Teachers, there have been nothing that really would enable you to build your board in a more aggressive manner. It's not looking very good for the Olreg right now.
This guy's toast.
Mirror Entitying this SS7 agent. Oh, Well, you do want to play down Sludge Belcher instead of just Flame Cannon Hero Power. This builds your board somewhat. You can decide to either trade the 3-3 or go for the face damage. In this situation, I would probably go for the face damage due to the Sludge Belcher being able to handle the 3-3 perfectly. What might the Rogue throw down? Well, it might throw down the Hero Power Sword Oil once again. That would give them 4 attack and a 6-3, which would mean that the 3-3 would be able to trade with the 3-5, but still. Okay, so opting to go for the less risky option of clearing the board. I completely understand that. You respect the opposing player's opportunity to buff their minions, which is actually quite significant in this matchup. Just playing the sprint over the Loatheb, getting double backstab into prep. That is double backstab, double prep. Wow. In theory, he could sap the 3-5 this turn, but it is quite inefficient. Dr. Boom, you don't want to be sapping out anymore. You would just get more boom bots. The backstab in combination with preparations only enables the Tinker's Sharp Sword Oil a little bit better. The only minions you're holding on to right now is Loatheb and Azure Drake. Those don't really... You don't want to be buffing those too much. Maybe Loatheb, just maybe Loatheb, because it might stick onto the board and might be able to trade with Dr. Boom, but you're facing 12 damage on the board from the opposing mage. You're at 17. There's a high chance that they're holding onto a Fireball or a Frostbolt or any sort of direct damage, and you're screwed pretty much. So it's looking a lot like Branzy Bass will be able to take this one home with him. The top deck Eviscerate, that works perfectly because of the fact that this Azure Drake will now be enabling. He should, in my opinion, use the prep Eviscerate on Dr. Boom itself, because this way you are wasting a bit of mana, since you don't actually have a Dagger Mastery for you to use the oil on. Opting to go for the sap play on the 3-5 instead. Well, when we see the hand from Branzy Bass, we know that's a good play because of the fact that the Ragnaros is probably going to be coming down this turn, but it's still a bit risky normally. I would have preferred the backstabs used maybe on the Boombot as well. The only reason you're holding onto the backstab right now is so you can clear the Sludge Belcher better in the late game as well. The perfect answer for the 4-4, of course, being the Flame Cannon. This means that the Sylvanas is going to get popped down onto the field against the Ragnaros. Playing a Sylvanas on a board where the opposing player doesn't have any minions is always a bit risky, but when you're so much ahead anyway, it's just a 5-5 with a nice up bonus. Maybe the anti-heal bot will enable D3monSlayer to stay alive for one more turn. Heal bot, prep, sharp sword, attack, blade flurry. That would have been one mana too little. Not using the backstab on the 5-5 means that you're prepping to use the offensive oil in combination with the AoE, and you're hoping to stay alive for this one turn. Mana Worm and clearing the 3/3 with a Frost Bolt, combine that with the Sludge Belcher. It's looking very strong when it comes to the board, yes, but this only means that the oil AoE will be that much stronger, and wow, look at that. Perfect timing. Violet Teacher down into Backstab, Prep, Oil, Blade Flurry. A lot of damage incoming. Clearing the Belcher though, only with the Backstab, yeah, it's possible. You put the Belcher down to 3/3, buff your own weapon to 4/2, opting to use the Backstab on the 5/5 as well, yeah. This way you can't clear the 1/2, but you will clear the Sylvanas. Interestingly enough, if you don't use the AoE, why would you not use it on the Violet Teacher? I see there being no downside to using the Violet Teacher before putting down the oil. You would have gotten the combo, you would have gotten 1/1s. And a buffed Violet Teacher or a 1/1 with the +3 attack. Can you see, if anyone in the chat can see why you would not want to play the Violet Teacher in order to buff it, I would very much like it if you would be able to inform me of this. Only getting a Mana Worm from the second Unstable Portal, a bit unlucky getting 1 mana drop, but let's see if it goes. 50% chance to win the game straight away, didn't pay off. I don't think there's a way that D3monSlayer can come back from this anyway, but he's gonna try his best. Use the oil to go for the base damage. Now on this turn, had those 1/1s been on the board, Ragnaros would have been much more likely to not hit the 3/5 Teacher as well. You're gonna use the Frost Bolt plus the Mana Worm to clear out the player's face damage or kill off the low pet. Anyway, the opposing rogue is just dead. Now it is 1-1 in this matchup of best of 5 conquest format where the winning deck has to be changed. Since Adrid, known as Brazzy on that, Branzybass, sorry, is known on the claim client, has now won with his mage, and Demon has won with his druid. That leaves either the combo druid or the face hunter. Probably a face hunter. It could be a mid-range as well. There we go. Combo from Branzy versus the paladin from D3monSlayer.
I must protect the wild.
The paladin is a much better matchup in here over the rogue, so I do like the fact that D3monSlayer decided to go with his paladin over the rogue. On the other hand, if it is a face hunter and you win with the paladin in this matchup, then you're gonna have a hard time with the rogue against it. Innervate, pretty nice. Ancient Allure, pretty nice. Unfortunately, nothing else that would benefit you in the early game. Maybe the swipe can be used against a muster for battle if it happens to happen. It's not a very strong start. Now Innervate into Pilot Shredder, much stronger, giving you the 4/3 sticky minion onto the board. Very nice top deck there from Branzy. D3monSlayer not playing the coin knife juggler into minibot, perhaps waiting to get wrathed, and that's the reason why he didn't want to play it. If you're gonna go ahead and play knife juggler this round, I would have considered coining out the zombie chow, seriously. Because now, yes, you can go for a 4-drop with the coin on turn 2, but you don't get any value from the knife juggler more than likely. Oh. Branzy opting to go for the more aggressive play. Probably wanting to push the paladin down to combo range as fast as possible. Well now, if you play the shielded minibot, coin reinforcement, nope. That would be, once again, a waste of the coin. Probably just gonna play down the zombie chow. There we go. On 4, now holding onto the coin actually pays off. D3monSlayer thought more ahead than I did. He probably knew that on this upcoming turn 4, he would be left with nothing except the Consecration Equality. And those are pretty much useless in this early stage of the game. So he's going to want to go ahead and coin out the Sludge Belcher, which makes him a far superior player than I am. So there you go, kids. Sometimes when you cast, you don't catch all the opportunities. Now this turn 4 for Branzy, on the other hand, very, very clunky. You might go for the hero ability, clear out the Divine Shield, but I like the swipe a whole lot more. This enables you to use the 4-3 as a clear on the 2-2, and there's no rush for you to kill off the Zombie Chow. You won't get the maximum effect out of it. Anyway, the opposing Paladin might actually even want to use it to clear out your 4-1. Then you'll get the 2-drop from the Polished Shredder, guaranteeing pretty good value.
Let me think.
Follow the rule.
Elder Peacekeeper onto this Shredder means that he could be able to clear it out with the Zombie Chow immediately. I personally do prefer if he clears out this 1-1 so he can see which 2-drop comes out. Now the option here to use the coin for the Sludge Belcher is in fact, in my opinion, a better alternative than just playing the Elder Peacekeeper. If the 4-1 would have been able to trade with the Zombie Chow, and this way, well, it's a 2-2. He would have been able to utilize the 2-2 to kill off the 3-3. Actually, if he had played the Sludge Belcher, then the 2-2 would have been irrelevant, because of the fact that the 3-5 would have perfectly been able to handle it. And now, instead of a 3-1 on the board, you would have a 3-3 taunt. And on this turn 5, you would be able to utilize the Peacekeeper plus hero ability. So in a way, he sorta, kinda wasted a mana there by not utilizing all the mana on turn 4 with the coin. You would have a 1-1 more on the board, pretty much. Branzy's not thinking about his options for a very long time, just playing down the Sylvanas perfectly on the curve, basically because it's the only option that makes any sense. And the second, Elder Peacekeeper, making life difficult. The Keeper of the Grove, now this is interesting. If you want, you can go for the silence on the 3-5 with it. But what do you combo it with? Just the hero ability? You would be able to clear out the 3-1 and the 1-1 with that play. Left with the Sylvanas able to handle the opposing board in case the opposing minions attack into her. But instead opting to go for the Ancient Allure, attacking with the 1-5 into the 3-4, just to soften it up ever so slightly. Now, if that 1-2 attack had not happened, and it would be a 1-5, then the Sludge Belcher attack alone would not be enough to pop the MC. It's interesting to see how he wants to clear this situation. If, as we see, he uses the top decked True Sword Champion instead, it's probably gonna mean that he's gonna leave the Sylvanas alone. Yep, there we go. Now when Sylvanas attacks into the Belcher, it'll be an RNG fest on which one of these 4 minions happens to be taken. Of course, the 3-3 taunted Belcher would be the worst option to lose. And when he used this True Silver Champion along with the Reinforce, it meant that he gave up the option of using Dr. Boom perfectly on the curve. Alright, so using the swipe also means that Sludge Belcher is a guaranteed get for the MC, which is very, very nice. Using the Innervate, you could get out the Force Signature, but that makes no sense. Not enough to get the Ancient Allure. The Keeper of the Grove does very little. He's cycling his own Wrath on his own Sylvanas. This tells me that he values the Wrath very little. Using either one of these wild growths does enable him to trade it out, to trade one of them out on the upcoming turn, but it means losing some of your card advantage. I don't really like the Wrath cycle that much, to be honest. Yes, you're looking for cards that are useful, but it is pretty provenly useful against the Paladin to get 3 damage or 1 damage on the cycle.
Let me think.
Seeing as how D3monSlayer is holding on to his end-all Tyrian Fordring, he is probably going to want to play it this turn. The Equality Consecration combo, not going to be used. Yes, the Divine Shield can be popped with the Slime, but the Doctor Boom against the Slime is even worse. And Tyrian isn't as prone to get removed with just a Big Game Hunter. There we go, a common tech card that we see in today's meta, the MC tech making a big comeback. Sorry about that. I think the Ancient Lord just once again draw more cards, so he'll have at least something useful in his hand. Probably gonna innervate down the Sludge Belcher. Or the Silence, actually. Yeah, the Silence makes a lot more sense. We want to deny the Ashbringer from the opposing Paladin, and there's not gonna be much in the ways of a better card to utilize the Silence on, so that makes a lot of sense. Played down the Sludge Belcher, then he would have used the Slime to pop down the Divine Shield. But this is better. Using the Equality Consecration combo right now, probably a pretty good call, given that there are 3 minions on the opposing side of the board, and that is a serious threat when you're playing against a combo druid. You don't want to have anything left on the board for them, and you're threatening lethal come next turn, so that's pretty good. Force of Nature probably going to be forced to be used defensively. You can try and grow yourself a new card. Dr. Broom itself, not doing much. Sludge Belcher would be good to counter the Zombie Chow if it's left on the board after the Force of Nature clear. Just one card short from the Mind Control tech being useful. Those slow calls. This does mean you're losing 1 win condition, unless you're running double combo, but sometimes it's got to be done. Instead of the hero power clear on the Silverhand Recruit, he's opting to go for the more risky, but on the other hand, maybe one of your only chances to win the game by playing Shade and Extremis. Consecration, taking care of the Shade. Yep, D3monSlayer can do the math. It would be 5 plus 14, which would be lethal. But as we know, there is no combo in his hand. And another tech card, Harrison Jones, dead in the current situation. But and now the Mind Control tech works 6 magic, and the Big Game Hunter gets rid of Dr. Boom, enabling Branzy Bass to keep himself alive for at least 1 more turn. There we go, growing a new card, hero powering out either the 1/1 or the Boom Bot. Let's see what she opts to go for, and he does the right decision. Given that you haven't seen any Quartermasters yet, taking out the reinforcement over the Boom Bot makes a lot more sense. You could give the Quartermaster a lot more value if you didn't handle it. 3 damage and 1 damage. There we go. RNG not on the side of D3monSlayer there. That Big Game Hunter staying alive is actually a big deal, because now you cannot play the Harrison Jones safely. If the Big Game Hunter had been destroyed instead of being just 1 damaged, you could have popped down the Harrison Jones without too much in the way of fear for it getting killed too easily. 5 damage on the board, the 3/3 perfectly trading with the 3/3 from D3monSlayer. Probably double taunt up. Sludge Belcher 3-5, Blue the Claw 4-6. Even if there is a silence, it won't be able to clear both of them out. And you're threatening lethal next turn.
Well played.
There we go, D3monSlayer. Giving a GG, well played. It is now 2-1 in favor of D3monSlayer. And he has one, in flavor of Principas, or as we know him, Adrid on the brackets. He only has his Hunter left, so we'll have to wait and see if it is indeed a face Hunter or a mid-range Hunter. Seeing as Demon knows it's a Hunter, he's not gonna pick the Rogue to start with, he's gonna pick the better choice of Paladin. It is a face Hunter. Oh my, double Unleash and an Arcane Golem. That's not something you want to see in your starting hand. Probably only the Wolf Rider gonna be kept in the starting hand. You might even argue that mulliganing all four of these would be a valid idea. Definitely gonna mulligan all three of the Paladin cards. This big game Hunter completely useless in a Hunter match. Ah, keeping one Unleash the Hounds. Let's see, Eaglehorn, Wolf Rider, well, at least you have the 1-drop Leper Gnome that you want. And this is a much better situation for the Paladin. Shielded Minibot, one of the better cards you can ever have in this matchup. And then combine that with the 3-drop Peacekeeper, 4-drop True Silver, 5-drop Heal Bot. This match is looking very strong in favor of the Paladin right now. Turn 2, top decking a Mad Scientist with perfect timing. Of course it will get removed with this Shielded Minibot's attack, but still. Silencing. Actually, considering that you're going to be using the Peacekeeper to change an enemy minion's attack to 1, which one are you going to want to hold on to? I would have preferred to put the 1-2 on the Leper Gnome. On the other hand, if you want to be silencing something away, then yeah, you'll probably want to be forcing the opponent to silence away a trap instead of just 2 damage onto your face. So I understand why the decision was made. The 1 extra hit point doesn't really matter in this matchup. Here we go. If he opts to go for the 4-mana True Silver Champion attack, he's gonna actually ignore. Well, if it would be an explosive trap, the situation would be pretty bad. You would lose this Shielded Minibot, and you would give 1 more charge to the Eaglehorn Bow. So in a way, I do understand why he did what he did. There we go, that's the Freezing Trap. Getting a Freezing Trap on the Peacekeeper is not that bad. You can actually go for the charge give on this turn, combine that with Harrison Jones to remove both the charges from the Eaglehorn and draw 2 cards. He knows it's a Freezing Trap. Actually, he doesn't know it's a Freezing Trap due to the fact that he attacked with a weapon first. He wanted to make sure that the trap was popped, no matter if it was a Freezing Trap or an Explosive Trap, so that's the reason why he went for the face. There we go, drawing 2 cards out of Harrison, getting great value there. It is looking good for the Paladin player right now. Wolf Rider, Abusive Sergeant or Coin Wolf Rider. Just using the Steady Shot on the other hand also makes a lot of sense due to the fact that you want to be using as much of the Steady Shot as possible now that you're down to basically 3 cards in the coin. There's no need for you to rush those out. Knife Juggler into Defender of Orcs. Oh, instead of Muster for Battle. I personally would have maybe even preferred to see the Muster this turn, but this way you do get a significant taunt with Harrison and Knife Juggler. You're not going to get as much value out of the Knife Juggler this way because it will be removed by the minions already in play, but well, at least you bought yourself 8 more hit points. And the Muster can be used effectively later on as well. There we go, the taunt wall is now gone. And using both of those dogs that are left to put as much pressure as possible. There isn't a consecration in the Paladin player's hand right now. But despite that, the Sludge Belcher is a pretty good answer to whatever remains on the board. Taking care of the 2-1, of course, wanting to make sure that there is as little pressure on the board as possible. And this Mad Scientist on the board by itself is looking a bit shaky. On the other hand, you have already forced the Hunter into a situation where you can just pretty much pop the anti-kill bot. Be sure that there is no way, absolutely no way for them to be able to kill you in such a manner. We already saw one kill command, there can't be a second one. You already saw one unleash, so it's highly unlikely that there will be a second one. The Paladin player pretty much wins the match. There is 4, 7, 8 damage on the board already. He's 3 off, but he knows that the traps are up, so he might not be able to finish it this turn, opting to go for the more safer play of proccing both traps. The shielded mini-bot will be given a new Divine Shield with the Freezing Trap, and definitely should play anti-kill bot just to make sure there are no surprises. There we go. Kill bot into a Master for battle, and the game is now effectively over. Even with a second Unleash the Hounds, you get 5 damage. There's still the Sludge Belcher to handle it. No targets, hero ability. This should be an auto concede right now. And it is 2-2! At least with these Hunter matches, we know we're in for either a quick win or a quick lose. So that makes it easy for us to cast this match. Face Hunter versus Oil Rogue. This is all about the draw. This is all about the mulligan. If the Face Hunter gets a weaker draw and the Oil Rogue gets the Fan of Knives, maybe even a Blade Flurry combo, it's winnable. It's definitely winnable, but it is a tough matchup for the Rogue.
Rexa versus Valera.
Watch your back.
So, here we go. Freezing Trap, gonna get mulligan to Paladin Shredder. Since he's going second, he might actually hold on to the Paladin Shredder. Nope. All of it gone. Abusive Sergeant on turn 1 is not something you usually want to be playing. But coining out the Haunted Creeper. Oh, well, wait and see what the draw is next. D3monSlayer has the anti-kill bot in his hand. He's probably going to want to hold on to that. The Deadly Poison does nothing in this matchup. And the prep itself also pretty useless. So these 2 spells probably going to get removed. Seeing the anti-kill bot in the Oil Rogue is an interesting decision. It does work in this meta. Oh, opting to remove the anti-kill bot. Very brave. That is very brave. It is turn 5, almost always guaranteed to heal for 8. Ah, there we go. Top deck Leper Gnome. Pretty much exactly what you wanted. This is how I was talking to you guys about not having a pretty good answer to turn 1. Yeah, it just pops up. Turn 2, you can go Haunted Creeper, coin Abusive Sergeant, just go for face damage. D3monSlayer forced to handle the 2-1s with the hero power. Eviscerate Shredder. At least you can prep for the Fan of Knives if you want. Brancy Pass opting to not use the coin with the Sergeant. Maybe he's looking for something to trade up with them. If there's Sludge Belchers or any other taunt minions coming up. That's probably the reason why you hold on to the Abusive Sergeants. Wolf Rider, turn 3, pretty much perfect on the curve, just go for face damage. Other options, replay the Sept Haunted Creeper, but that's not so great. Doesn't fit your mana curve that well. On the other hand, it does look like he's seriously considering playing the Haunted Creeper. You would then coin out either the hero power or both the Abusive Sergeants, but it's looking like a coin is used to take out the hero power. Yeah, it's true, you want to be using as much hero power as you can, and the Wolf Rider 3 damage can be useful later on. You can actually proc it with the Abusive Sergeant on the same turn. There's a lot of variabilities on why you want to use the hero power. I personally just do prefer the fast Wolf Rider over just the very slow one too, in this stage of the game. Right, the Abusive Sergeant gonna be used to not pop the Shredder, but go for more face damage. Yeah, if you had popped the Shredder, it's true, you might have gotten a 2-drop, which would have been not so beneficial for you, but unfortunately, D3monSlayer is holding on to 2 Fan's Knives, so now this Cloud Shredder will get maximum value. And there's also a nice strong antique heal bot just waiting to be played, given the chance. D3monSlayer just dropping down the Thalnos as a cycled death rattle, basically. It's not there to last for a very long time. This turn 5, just the Wolf Rider hero ability. Thalnos perfectly able to trade you into the Wolf Rider, get a card out of there, see what's happening. You might even actually argue for using the Southsea Deckhand, but since you're running Oil Rogue with the Deckhand, it means you probably want to use that as a combo. Prep, maybe Fan of Knives with the prep, but using it on just a single minion makes not a lot of sense. I would personally prefer to see the Thalnos traded into the Wolf Rider. That saves you damage, gives you one more card to work with. Even popping down the daggers before deciding on what to do is a mistake due to the fact that you want to have your whole reserve of mana available to you. Now that you are actually trading the Thalnos and drawing the card. Here we go, Violet Teacher. Works very, very well. You want to pop down the Violet Teacher and then just not do anything. It's highly unlikely that they will have the 13 damage this turn. Deadly Poison. Well, now you don't get the 1/1s from Violet Teacher. I don't like this as much. This is way more aggressive. The Violet Teacher would have given you more options for the future with the 1/1s. On the other hand, yeah, the Hunter does run Unleash the Hounds. So I guess that talks for the fact that you don't want to be using the 1/1s as much. Killer Commanding the 2/1 is a humongous waste of that card. You want the Freezing Trap to be effective, yes, but you're destroying a potential 5 damage just to stay alive long enough with the help of the Freezing Trap. On the other hand, what else would you have done this turn? Just Freezing Trap hero ability? Yeah. I understand why he did it, it just feels so bad to see it happen. And now he knows that it's Freezing Trap, so he will not proc it with the Shredder, he will actually proc it with the Violet Apprentice. He saw that the Hunter was desperate enough to use the Killer Command on a 2/1, which means that you're free to push your advantage. I see. There we go. Lothep, this means probably an antique heal bot from the next turn. Since none of the spells make any sense. Antique heal bot and another Ring Force here. Ladies and gentlemen, that does look like a lot of D3monSlayer. It does look a lot like D3monSlayer will be going on to the finals of the Hearthstone.fi Monday Night Community Tournament number 20. In such a very, very strong situation. 7 damage on the board. Nope, no way for there to be lethal this turn due to the Lothep effect. You want to go for the heal bot or the Ring Force here just to make sure you're absolutely clear of any possible threats from the Face Hunter on the coming turns. Even with a Unleash the Hounds, that's 4 damage, 4-second kill command, 14, nowhere near enough. With the abusive 16. 18 with double abusive, and you've already seen 1 abusive being used, so that's not gonna happen. There's no way for the Face Hunter to win from this situation, so GG, well played from Brazipas. This matchup between 2 French greats ends up in the victory of Demon Slayer. Considering honorable Mitsubishi right now. Unfortunately, even that's not possible. Just 3 and no beasts activated, so. There we go. Didn't see.
Well played.
And Demon Slayer goes on to the finals of the Hearthstone.fi Monday Night Community Tournament number 20. We will join you guys with semi-final number 2 in just a second.